Yes, your joy will overflow. Have to pause. Okay. How joyous do we usually look? I mean, how much joy do we expect to receive from sacrificing for somebody or serving them? And yet Jesus tells us that he wants us to love like he loves, by service and sacrifice, so that our joy will be complete. Of course, the author of Hebrews also said that Jesus went to the cross for the joy that was set before him. The joy he knew was coming afterwards. Jesus says, I have told you these things so that you may be filled with joy. This is my commandment. Love each other in the same way I have loved you. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. This is my command, in case you've forgotten. Love each other. Do you want to see love in action? Using your spiritual, I don't want to say imagination, using your spiritual eyes that can time travel, I want you to look at the virgin's growing womb. And hear the angels sing and the shepherds praise and the wise men come at his birth. I want you to observe the miracles of healing and those raised from the dead and those released from oppression in Jesus' life. Check out the crowds hanging on his words because he speaks like one who has authority. Watch Judas betray him with a kiss. Survey the scene as Peter denies even knowing him 3 times. Feel free to glance away as the soldiers strip Jesus' clothes from him to beat him, to whip him, and to nail him to a cross. And stare at his gasping body, bleeding body as he dies on that cross. That's your king. That's how he loves. Try to imagine how much love it takes for him to do that, for the eternal life giver to die. But a sacrifice isn't the end of the story. All right, examine his empty tomb, peer into the clouds with his followers while he ascends to the throne of heaven, and look at him now. He is praying for you and me right now. So how does loving our neighbor look? If I could speak with the tongues of all the languages of earth and of angels, but didn't love others, I would only be a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. Or another paraphrase puts it this way: I would only be an obnoxious car alarm that won't go off. If I had the gift of prophecy, and if I understood all of God's secret plans and possessed all knowledge, and if I had such faith that I could move mountains but didn't love others, I would be nothing. If I gave everything I have to the poor and even sacrificed my body, I could boast about it. But if I didn't love others, I would have gained nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up. Love never loses faith. Love is always hopeful and endures through every circumstance. Prophecy and speaking in unknown languages and special knowledge will become useless. But love will last forever. Now our knowledge is partial and incomplete, and even the gift of prophecy reveals only part of the whole picture. But when the time of perfection comes, these partial things will become useless. When I was a child, I spoke and thought and reasoned as a child, but when I grew up, I put away childish things. Now we see things imperfectly, like puzzling reflections in a mirror, but then we will see everything with perfect clarity. All that I know now is partial and incomplete, but then I will know everything completely, just as God now knows me completely. 3 things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. Jesus taught, do to others whatever you would like them to do to you. Pay attention to what he says. This is not the way most people quote this. Most people say, do to others what they've done to you. That's not what Jesus says. Jesus says, you do for other people what you want them to do for you, and he implies whether they ever do anything nice to you or not. Where'd you get that? Well, let me see. He died on the cross for the entire human race, many of whom will never, ever say yes to him. But he did what he wanted for them, whether they responded in kind or not. Let love be your highest goal. Well, why is love so important? And why does it have to be, like Jesus love? Why can't it be nice, warm, mushy feelings? That's so much more enjoyable. I mean, it's entertaining, actually, for most people. Why is loving each other so important? Why did Jesus tell us to love our neighbors? When our actions, this is what I believe, when our actions toward others express Jesus' love, we will experience and demonstrate his presence with us. Jesus teaches us to love others because he wants us to know and to show his loving presence. He commands us to develop the same attitude that led to his service and his sacrifice on our behalf. He commands us to develop the same attitude that led to his service and action. Love requires more than warm feelings, as we've mentioned. It requires more than empathy or sympathy. It takes much more than feeling concerned about people or worrying about people. Love is more than a caring feeling. The love Jesus creates in us, the love that he wants us to have, expresses itself in how we treat each other. When we serve and sacrifice for each other, Jesus' powerful love surrounds us. His loving presence flows through us. When we love each other enough to serve and sacrifice for each other without waiting for others to go first, we experience his presence flowing through us and around us and in us. When we know and show his love, unbelievers or people who don't know Jesus yet will worship God, declaring, God is truly here among you. He is here.